Hello everyone, welcome to yet another video in this disastrous clown decade. As news has come from the internet that both Hasan Piker and Vaush are both banned at the moment from Twitch.tv. The reason being because they use the word cracker in a rather derogatory way to describe someone who was white. So really it's a bit of a white pill from Twitch's end because it appears that they are actually enforcing their rules fairly. If you're not allowed to use certain racial slurs on their website, why should you be allowed to use any? So Hasan and Vaush, being the drama whores that they are, have both made about 20-minute videos on this case. So let's take a look at them. Hasan, take us away.
Is my VOD gone again? Dude, this is the second day in a row where Twitch has just taken down my VOD. What is happening?
So Hasan's video already is telling us that we need more context, which I think you do too. So let's read the description, since that gives a perfectly fair story of exactly what has happened to Hasan. While Hasan was watching an episode of MasterChef, a character named Max was being an a-hole, and a few of the moderators in chat were calling him the C-word, cracker. Soon after, Twitch deleted the VOD of the stream, which started a conversation in the following stream about the use of the word and requesting the mods get unbanned. That VOD was also deleted by Twitch, and thus continuing the conversation about what anti-white racism really is and why it doesn't actually exist. So this is going to be a good video. After the third stream of talking about the subject, Hasan was banned from Twitch for the next 7 days. So there you go. 3 warnings about not using the cracker word, and he's out for 7 days, which, you know, seems fair to me. I mean, obviously, in my opinion, you should either have child-friendly content or non-child-friendly content, and in the non-child-friendly content, you should be able to say whatever the hell you like, as long as obviously there's no direct threats in there, or calls to violence, whatever. But calling people any insulting word under the sun should be fine. Obviously not in Twitch's mind, because Twitch wants to keep their advertisers. So obviously the word cracker in Twitch's mind is off-limit. And of course, Hasan has to go on a massive episode about why saying cracker isn't actually that bad and should actually be said more. Take it away, Hasan.
I'm getting increasingly more annoyed with the way that Twitch is operating, and they are, of course, notorious for not communicating exactly what's going on.
Hasan, from your own story in the description, it appears that you knew exactly what was going on. You are not allowed to say cracker. That was it. That's what Twitch is saying. 2 of your VODs were taken down because of the use of the word. They will have told you that. So you're just saying, oh, they're not communicating to me. No, they are. And the fact you're ignoring it is why you've been banned. Anyway, carry on.
Some people tried appealing their ban for the C word and it got denied because since they have no tolerance for racism. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's totally chill. They have like absolutely yeeted like half my audience off the platform. So that
I love how Hasan has just admitted that at least half his audience is anti-white and racist. That to me is delicious.
I don't know what like Twitch's goal is, right?
If you're wondering why every 2 seconds there's a cut in this video, it's because if you actually ever watch Hasan's live stream, which lol, try and find that on Twitch now, you'll find that between each word he just has pauses while he's thinking. And it's just something I really like to point out, because if you are used to streaming 8 hours a day, you should be pretty good at just getting thoughts in your head and saying entire sentences. But Hasan, I don't understand how people can stand listening to him, let alone all of his quite frankly outlandish positions, but anyway.
It wasn't an auto ban until the MasterChef Max incident, which is telling that some Twitch admins are going nuts right now because of it. Yeah, I think that's what's going on. I think internally there's a conflict where should we ban cracker? Should we not? You know what I mean? What is the deal? Are we caving to the interests and demands of people who would otherwise use every other slur known to man?
Again, hilarious. I don't know anyone that cares that the word cracker was being used on Twitch. I don't even think the white nationalists cared. And if they did, I had not seen it been brought up in any of their circles, and again, I don't watch it particularly closely. But I love how that's where his mind first goes to, rather than, oh, maybe they just want it to be fair, like no racial slurs allowed whatsoever. He just goes straight to, oh, they must just be bowing to white nationalists. Because, to be frank, the white nationalist sphere on YouTube and all over the internet, really, is relatively small. About tens of thousands of people, really, something around that area. And any of their content is more than likely just straight away banned on Twitch, which I wouldn't be surprised at. And YouTube even, hence Millennial Woes has been doing his Millennial this year on Odyssey, and I imagine they still use DLive, though again I'm still not sure. Point being, they have absolutely no social capital whatsoever to make these type of demands to Twitch, so Hasan saying this just shows he doesn't actually know what a white supremacist or white nationalist is.
It's also annoying because Twitch is taking a cowardly position where they don't want to openly come out and be like, anti-white racism is unacceptable on this platform. And that's precisely why we are banning the usage of the term cracker, because they know that they would get fucking clowned on by like 99% of media that isn't like predominantly fucking focused on random weirdos that spend all of their time in their mother's basement talking about the fucking ethics of being able to use the C word versus, you know, how they should also be able to say the N word as well.
Well, I mean, yeah, what's the line of where a racial slur is allowed and not? And it appears in Hasan's mind, and I wouldn't be surprised if he openly comes out with this later. But I wouldn't be surprised if his position is, oh, it's anti-white race. I mean, he says it in the description. Oh, it's anti-white racism, therefore it's not really racism, therefore it's okay to say. Whereas anyone with any understanding of what is fair, like me, would say, well, every single racial slur should be off limits, not just the ones that you want to pick and choose. But Hasan, despite being basically white, is more than happy to oppress his own race, basically. I mean, he'll claim that he's an eighth Turkish or whatever, but, I mean, come on. People are just going to think you're white by looking at you, Hasan. Just own it.
And that's precisely why I don't think they've made like a serious decision yet. And that's precisely why they're fucking waiting on trying to figure out what to do with this, okay? And that's what's currently happening. It's the dumbest fucking drama, but it's like, take a stance, dude.
No, I mean, I think Hasan is actually right here, surprisingly. Twitch are not coming out with a statement saying they think the word cracker is a racial slur and should be banned. Hasan and his audience have clearly just deduced that because they kept talking about the word cracker and kept saying it in 3 separate VODs, every single one of those VODs got removed and he's been banned for 7 days, which is quite usual for using racial slurs on Twitch. But Twitch have not come out publicly to have a stance on what their actual opinion on the word cracker is, unlike the N-word. Because in 2020, they came out with this tweet. We've had questions about the use of the N-word on Twitch. Use with the hard R is not allowed, period. We also automatically block the word across Twitch, including in chat. And clearly they're just going that far with cracker as well. I wonder if that's the same if it's a hard R or ending with an A.
I know this is a complex or complicated situation, a complicated issue, but you didn't have a problem fucking yeeting incel and simp immediately when you came out of the gate swinging and you were like, we're going to make sure that people can't be called incel or simp anymore. And it was like, who are you protecting in that situation? That's so silly.
See, it's total identity politics with Hasan. You'd probably get yeeted off Twitch for calling a woman a whore or a slut or any other sort of derogatory term, but you can't get kicked off Twitch anymore for saying incel or simp. When really, again, from my perspective, either ban them all or don't ban any of them. You know, we're going classic iDubbbz here when he did the Tana Montague, or whatever she's called, content cop, where absolutely all of these people have used all of these words, and they probably say the N-word more than me, because I really don't use it that much. Yet at the same time, they do what Hasan is doing right here, picking and choosing what slurs should and shouldn't be allowed, and wouldn't you know it? It's ones against straight white men that are the ones that are allowed. So thank you for being so predictable. It makes my job so much easier.
You're being ridiculous. And they stopped it. And they never banned anyone for that. And now it's like a similar situation with cracker is occurring. And they're like trying to fucking figure this shit out. It's like, I want to move on.
Again, right here, Hasan just wants it like the incel simp situation on Twitch. Just, oh, they're thinking, oh, shall we make the rules fair? And then they'll get so much pushback that they won't. Because Hasan and that whole section of the internet, the political socialists, have a complete monopoly on Twitch. And a lot of the normie gamer streamers or whatever, they're just totally on board with it. Because these channels are so huge on Twitch. They disagree with them, their streams get raided. It's, yeah, I can completely understand if you're completely apolitical and just want a game or something like that, you will just go along with this.
Like, I'm not married to being able to say cracker, okay? I've never fucking used the term until my moderators randomly started getting clapped. Incredibly fucking ridiculous situation. Like, they're writing cracker in the chat and they get fucking banned. Go to any other stream and you see people, not only the content creators are saying the R word, but also people are spamming it. They're not getting fucking banned. Same with like a number of different, way worse even, spam that goes on, including cracker too. I'm not saying enforce that on them as well. I'm simply stating that it's ridiculous to straight up fucking ban people for their usage of cracker in one chat because some staff members happen to be there versus other chats where you can fucking totally write it.
So I just had to cut down a lot because he ends up repeating himself over and over. But we can clearly see what Hasan's position is. He doesn't care. Here, he says he doesn't care what Twitch say, just so long as the enforcement's consistent of a particular word. Not a particular group of words, not all slurs, just this particular word. Because it's weird that he then says this.
And when I say consistency, when I say I want consistency, on top of that, don't want you to ban people for saying cracker or whatever, okay? Wow. There are chats who say the soft N-word and Twitch allows that. Yeah, but I don't want people to get fucking banned for that either, unless they are like very clearly a white streamer saying it, okay?
I absolutely love it. He says, oh, I want consistency. When before he was saying, oh, I don't really care, I'm not married to saying any word, just make a decision. Consistency with a group of words be damned, as long as the particular word is enforced consistently. To now saying he doesn't care if the rule is inconsistent with white streamers. I don't care how bad you think a word is, either everyone gets banned from saying the N-word with a hard R, or no one does. It is ridiculous to have any other rule, but apparently we're in this clown world.
But there are chats with, what are you going to do, fucking clap DJ Academics' chat, which is white as fuck already as is. Like, what do you want to, like, actively purge, black content creators from the platform? That sucks.
Are you joking, Hasan? How hard is it for any black content creator to not say the N-word? Like, does Hasan just think that every black person just says the N-word all the time? And if they do, then yeah, I think tough titties. They have a rule where they say you can't have the N-word with a hard R, and they already permanently ban people who say it and censor it from all chats. So apparently they're doing well enough with that rule. So someone in the chat annoys Hasan, and then he has to explain his position again. Here.
This is more so not a fucking appropriate application of the TOS from my assessment, and two, constantly putting my VODs under one, straight up fucking geolock hell, and then also yeeting them for the past 2 days.
So there you go. According to Hasan Piker, it doesn't break TOS to use racial slurs against white people, which, we already know. But what's really funny is what he says next.
I've literally been a fucking advocate for the terms of service since day one. As much as I've been on the receiving end of like what I would consider to be inappropriate bans. I've talked to other fucking media figures whenever they ask me about Twitch, why I like Twitch. It's literally because they have a rigorous application of their terms of service.
Almost sounds like he's got Stockholm syndrome. He's been screwed around by Twitch, and this isn't the first time he's been screwed around by Twitch, and this time I actually think it's fair. But he still says, oh yeah, they're the best platform ever. And I'm not going to lie, that's probably because he wants to try and get back on. He's sucking up to them a bit, saying like, oh, please don't permanently ban me. Because I have literally no idea what else Hasan Piker would do with his life. He spends 48 hours of his life streaming to Twitch. Per week, I mean. And he makes literally millions from it. I don't know how else he can be this lazy and earn that much money anywhere else. He needs to stay on Twitch, otherwise his life is literally over.
Rigorous application copium? You know what I mean, Mr. Mooten. Rigorous application in comparison to every other platform. Transphobia, homophobia, bigotry, anti-black racism, okay? Shit like that is usually clapped off the platform.
I love it. Again, he has to go through each one of the progressive labels and say they are all getting yeeted. Again, he doesn't care for consistency. He's got an ideology he needs to push, and to push that, you need to clamp down on anything that insults minorities, or not even necessarily minorities, oppressed classes, while the oppressor classes in the ideology, it's fair game to call them whatever the hell you want. Hence, incel's fine. Simp I really don't care about, because it's a completely meaningless term at this point anyway. But if we have, in the context of this conversation, racial slurs being banned, it should be all of them, not just some. But obviously, Hasan has just mask off said, yeah, I don't care, it's, anti-black racism is the only one that matters.
What happens to me at this level happens 20-fold to much smaller content creators, especially because if you want more people like myself, more people who are progressive, who advocate for progressive values, who fight for fucking working class people all around the world, who are anti-imperialist, who advocate for these sorts of things.
I love that that's Hasan's view of himself. A fighter for progressive values, anti-imperialism, and the working class around the world. Hence, instead of putting money towards it, he spent $3 million on a house in Los Angeles. I'm sorry, but sitting on your arse all day, talking to a camera 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, and on your day off you do a stupid podcast with Ethan Klein? You are fighting for sweet FA. You are doing nothing helpful. You are a performing monkey on a camera, and these idiots who, again, should be, if they really cared about these things, would be throwing money towards good causes like that instead of to you. You're basically a money hoover for idiots.
If you want those people to exist on this platform, then not having a better understanding of like the intricacies and not having a decent approach to like white supremacist backed movements or falling into antiquated white supremacist agitprop like white fragility, that's terrible. It's like it's a silly thing to do. And it also most likely makes the space feel less open to black people existing in it and brown people existing in it.
He extrapolated all of that bollocks just because he got banned for 7 days for saying cracker over and over and over again. According to him, you're not going to get progressive people on Twitch unless they can say cracker. He also admitted that half his audience is anti-white. Twitch, you need to think about this. Do you want to be known as, according to Hasan Piker, an anti-white platform? Do you think that's a sensible way to go? I know you're tempted because a lot of the media does seem to be quite anti-white in some ways. For example, there's a lot of advertising campaigns that say, you know, diversity is our strength and there won't be a single white person in the picture. Things like that. Do you want to be seen as worse than that? Because a lot of people are getting very annoyed at it, and it is not just white people.
To play devil's advocate, though, wouldn't the N-bomb be black fragility? No, because I think you understand that the N-word and cracker are not of similar magnitude.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Words are wind. I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand that some words are worse than others, such as the C word, not cracker, the 4-letter one. That is a lot worse than being called a bitch or something like that. So I do understand that there are magnitudes of how bad a word is, and I will completely agree. The N-word is the worst word to use in terms of racial slurs. And cracker, not so much. That is essentially like calling someone a bitch. But in my opinion, there does need to be a line drawn. And where is that line? Well, according to you, Hasan, you're saying, oh, if it's anti-white racism, it's okay, the rest aren't okay. That is a really silly place to put the line, and even from your own Marxist worldview, that clearly shows some type of oppressor versus oppressed class. The oppressed class are the anti-white class. Not the anti-white class, the white class. The oppressors are the anti-white class. But you don't care about that, and neither does any Marxist, because Marxism doesn't make any goddamn sense. Because it didn't seem to understand the end point that if you do end up having the proletariat rising up, they just end up becoming the bourgeoisie, as we saw in every communist country.
Now, the reason why you don't say the N-word out loud versus the reason why you can easily type cracker is because that is a legitimate grievance. That has historical context associated with it. Whereas with cracker, the historical context associated with it means racist white person at its most reductive capacity, okay? It's like calling someone a fucking Nazi.
I mean, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? Ultimately, what someone's response is to a word is entirely up to an individual. But either way, you've already stated that this type of argument doesn't care. It's pulled from under the rug from under you, because you kept saying throughout this entire video that anti-white racism is okay. That's your position, so you don't need to come up with this crap, because there is actually historical connotations to the word cracker. It actually meant cracker of the whip. And then also you saying, well, cracker basically just means Nazi. Well, people are obviously going to have a grievance with being called a Nazi, especially when they aren't one, which is most people. And I especially don't think that the person on MasterChef who was being referred to as a cracker would have appreciated it. Especially since you're saying it basically means Nazi. They're not going to want to be called a Nazi. But that's why I didn't go into the historical connotations of cracker. One, he doesn't know what it means. I mean, I had to look it up, to be fair. And two, because he didn't know that, he had to come up with a complete bullshit answer.
Do you understand? I don't, but I also think that the platform shouldn't be deciding that. You don't think the platform should be deciding that, like, one type of fucking conversation? They are deciding it.
That's not my editing, by the way. The video actually cuts like that. He just starts a sentence and then moves straight on to another. What's he talking about? But yes, Hasan, I don't think that it should be up to the whims of Twitch to decide where the line is drawn on acceptable and unacceptable slurs. I think it just should say all slurs are bad, because when it draws that line, it's making a stance, and it's going to make an anti-white stance, and that isn't ideal, especially for race relations in the US.
When the platform takes a stance on the word cracker, they are deciding that. They're saying cracker is maybe not as bad as the N-word, but still racially targeted. It's racially targeted and it should not exist and it doesn't matter.
It just ends that thought there, by the way, and then just goes on about, because he wasn't banned at this point, but then he said, oh, I'm probably going to get banned for this. But he just moves on. So to respond to that point, I think Hasan moved on because he realised that in his thought process, he realised, oh, it's actually just massively hypocritical if they do that. Despite his arguments before of, oh, well, the N-word's worse. And this is why I find it so interesting to sometimes just watch highlights of Hasan, because he will just 180 on his own positions without realising it really, and then just move on because he doesn't want to admit it. And I think this happened right here. I think he realised, oh, actually that's going to be massively hypocritical and my audience is giving me a bit of pushback, so there might be good reason for that. I wouldn't be surprised if in the actual live stream he actually just banned that guy, though. He does just do that on a whim.
They have no way of recognizing that if I do get banned for fucking utilizing the term cracker or advocating that cracker is not as fucking severe as a sentiment or as a slur or a pejorative to the tune of the N-word, that will most likely cause a fucking media outrage far greater than the LSF weirdos fucking freaking out over it.
So just to catch you up, LSF means live stream fails. It's a subreddit where they post live stream fails, and Hasan will have been on there for getting banned for saying cracker. But again, I don't think Hasan gets why he got banned and why people are getting banned. It's for using the term insultingly. I mean, I'm not being funny, but there are cooking channels out there on Twitch, and they will be cooking using crackers at some point. They're not going to get banned for saying, and now you take 3 crackers, break them up to make the base of some bun, I don't know. But I just love his copes here. It's like, oh, don't they realise that if I get unironically banned for using the term cracker, that it will make a bigger media outrage than people on subreddits? And while that's true or not, that should not at all come into consideration of whether it should remain bannable or not. But also, what I find amazing is that Hasan is the type of person to think that progressive politics, and, well, they're not popular, but progressive politics are for the underclass, they're for the underdog, they're the losing side of the culture war. And at the same time, we'll say stuff like this, that basically, oh, the whole media will be on my side, though. I don't understand how you say that and still think that you are the underclass when it comes to your politics.
I don't think I will garner the support of most people on a platform that is predominantly white, especially when it's like white fragility is the one fucking aspect that is impossible to shake.
I love how literally within sentences he has said why you wouldn't garner a audience of mostly white people. It's because he basically just admits, yeah, I'm an anti-white racist, but it's the white people's fault. I'm just going to victim blame. I think it should be perfectly alright to racially abuse these people that are white. And if they're offended, well, that's just white fragility. Which is why the audience asked before, like, isn't just saying the N-word and having a bad reaction to that black fragility. And obviously his only reasoning behind that is some bollocks about historical context that he doesn't even understand himself. But at this point, that's pretty much all the points he has to make, so I'm just going to go through some more of the funny replies he has to his Twitch chat.
I already hate myself as a person. I guess I can hate myself for being white also. Dude, you should not hate yourself for being white. It's fucking mind-boggling that that's what you think about this. Like, that's your point of view on this.
See, I love that. It was like, I mean, this video, it's about 10 minutes worth of Hasan's video, but it's probably about half an hour's worth of Hasan's actual stream, where he's basically just saying, look, cracker is an okay word because it's aimed at white people, and so the chat's obviously pushing back, saying like, well, I'm white, should I just hate myself then? And he's like, why is me saying that it's okay to be racist to white people making you upset about being white? Yeah, I can't think why, Hasan. I can't think why this guy, who you've just said you wouldn't garner an audience of him, I don't understand why you think that.
Especially considering the fact that I myself am white. What do I always tell you? Like, a lot of the performative allyship that, like, white people engage in when they fucking clean black people's shoes and they, like, fucking recreate, like, slavery moments where they chain themselves, and a lot of that stuff is fucking psychotic and comes from a place of, like, weirdo white guilt. You should not feel that at all.
I don't understand how he can say this after he just had a massive go and said, oh, it's white fragility, we need to get rid of white fragility. And then when people are acting on trying to get rid of white fragility, he's saying, oh, it's really weird when they do that stuff. Yeah, you idiot. Your politics and your talking points is what is making them do that. Moron.
You're really going to die on this hill that it's okay to be racist towards whites? It's not a real fucking concept. What you're describing is not a real concept.
That's a yes then, but I absolutely love how he's just come out, mask off, saying you can't be racist towards white people. And then he's saying, why do people think I'm being racist to white people? He doesn't even think it's a real thing.
okay? This idea that, like, I'm being racist towards whites, especially as a fucking white person.
Oh, he does consider himself white, fair enough. But still, I love it. I have literally seen videos of black people calling other black people racist things. To think you can't be racist to your own race just because you are of the same race is a ridiculous concept, and one that I'm just going to step over.
Even if you're right, this just fosters division and toxicity. Everything I talk about fosters division and toxicity. You just happen to disagree with this one. I don't know why you can't recognize that.
I love it. I absolutely love going through Hasan's stuff. Literally just announcing that he is a toxic person and wants people divided. Especially among racial lines, out of all things. Like, if you asked him, oh, as a progressive, do you think that we should, all unite and have one big multicultural society with no divisions and all that, he'd say yes. But then when he's being pushed back because the subject happens to be against white people, he's like, no, I want division now. Unbelievable scenes.
I don't understand why you think it's okay to shit on someone for just being white like Max. Someone wasn't shitting on Max for being white. They were shitting on him for being a fucking asshole. The framing non-personal argument can be said for the M-bomb too. No, it can't, because there is a difference between... Okay, I'm just going to ban him and move on.
I absolutely love that bit. Two things right next to each other. First guy, Hasan just explains, no, I'm not insulting him because he's white. I'm insulting him because he's a prick. Which, I mean, if you're going to insult someone, generally it's because they're a prick. But then instantly someone then comments saying, well, come on, if someone's being a prick and you call them the M-word, how's that different? And then he just bans him because he just has to go through the same argument again. Because it is literally the same thing. They are both just racially charged insults. That's all they both are. But then Hasan has to go on a tirade again.
You're saying N-bomb, N-word, but you're saying cracker, okay? So automatically, no. And the reason for why no, not the same, is because historical context associated with dehumanizing and subjugating people and justifying that subjugation through things like saying the N-word, okay? That has not happened to white people while using the terminology cracker. Even the word cracker itself still comes from whip cracking.
What I absolutely love about this clip, and it will be the last one about Hasan because he's really annoying me, but what I absolutely love is that he's, saying, oh, there's a difference because of the historical context that the M-word has, which is that it is used to basically insult people as an underclass, when at the same time Hasan is right here advocating to say, oh, cracker should be allowed so that we can insult an entire race, so that we can dehumanize them. Oh, but I'm only going to insult them when they're being a prick. Which, for a start, I just don't think is true. But secondly, I love how you have this massive historical description of the N-word while trying to justify doing the same thing to a different race right now. That is hilarious. But before we finish off with Hasan, I do want to play a clip he uploaded to YouTube. It's just a small one, which I did think was quite a funny reaction to what's happened with Twitch. Genuinely quite funny, the funniest thing I've seen from Hasan, where he's actually trying to be funny. But anyway, if Hasan's takes weren't enough for you, we've also got the most unironically evil person on Twitch. Vaush. Vaush had something to say about this whole drama, because he was talking about the word cracker too on his Twitch channel, and he got banned too. And this is the video you uploaded about that, so let's take a look.
Are you permanently banned from Twitch? Yes, though the term they use is indefinitely banned. It'll probably be overturned at some point. I haven't filed an appeal yet because I think I'm just kind of enjoying the notoriety and the freedom of being off Twitch for a little bit.
See, this is what I love about Vaush. Again, he's like Hasan. He thinks his politics are being oppressed. He doesn't think he can say these things. But then when something actually happens to him, such as being banned for using a racial slur he thinks completely justified, he doesn't care. It's almost a joke to him. It's like, I got kicked off Twitch. Now I'm going to have a bit of a break because I'm going to be on there at some point. And he's even toying with it. They probably get income from elsewhere, obviously. But losing literally thousands a day doesn't mean anything to these people because they are already millionaires. Thank God for the socialist landscape of Twitch. But that's how confident they are that they are in the right and that the media and Twitch is going to end up on their side. He just doesn't care that he's been banned off Twitch. It's incredible.
And I was I was banned, of course, for saying the C word. I will actually admit, okay, I didn't expect to get banned for saying cracker.
To be fair, I'm quite surprised that anyone's been banned for saying cracker, because I did think Twitch, with it having the biggest left-wing political pundits pundits, I think, obviously being far too charitable. But with it having massive names like Hasan Piker and Vaush on there constantly, I am surprised that they are not just kowtowing to every single one of their demands for their TOS, and to say, oh, we are going to have a line in the sand between anti-white racism and any other racism.
I thought the issue with Hasan was that he was calling people cracker over and over again, where it wasn't the word itself that was the issue, it was the way in which he was saying it. But no, it actually was. Yeah, actually was. Yeah.
Yes, Vaush, and 2 of his VODs were taken down as warnings. Just don't say the word cracker with a hard R on Twitch. It's not the hardest thing in the world to do. And honestly, I'm with it. They probably will just appeal and say, look, we weren't using it in a derogatory way, and that's probably good enough to actually come back on the site. But then again, I'd probably argue that they need to do that with the N-word too, but they're not going to.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Consistency is great, okay? Cracker is a slur. I really do think, I'm not joking when I say that, okay? However, I also think bitch is a slur. Are you going to ban everyone who says bitch, right? I mean...
Well, this is the Pandora's box that Twitch has opened, isn't it? Either you draw a completely arbitrary line in the sand on which slurs you can and can't use, or you just have to ban every slur known to man. Problem is with social interactions, especially British ones, is that we do just tend to insult each other a lot. The Aussies are worse for it. They say the C word all the time. So Twitch trying to enforce that will just kill the platform. Which is why having a child-friendly section and an adult section where there's no rules whatsoever, basically, I think is the best solution. So I'll be like YouTube anyway. They'll shadow ban people that they don't like, so why not just be as malevolent as YouTube?
Maybe they really are going to start treating saying cracker like saying the N-word, in which case that would be pretty dumb, I think, you know?
It doesn't say why here, by the way, because, to be fair, his arguments are probably going to be pretty similar to Hasan's, and Vaush's audience would probably be a lot more on Vaush's side like that, because Vaush is a lot more explicitly political on his streams, whereas Hasan just basically does nothing. He leaves his chair for most of the stream, to be honest. And so we'll probably have a wider net of his audience. Because the other issue Hasan has is that he just doesn't understand any political arguments whatsoever.
Man, it's turned into a firestorm. I got DMs from journalists asking interview questions. It's like, oh my god, it's like a whole thing. This is going to lead to like articles, you know?
Look at him, being banned on Twitch has been the best thing ever for him. He's getting mainstream appearances now in articles. I'm with Adam Friended on this. He'll probably be an MSNBC host within the next 5 years. And I might just refer to him as Cracker Man from then on if he is. But my god, I've been listening to this whole clip. Vaush really does just talk a load of nothing. I don't know how people find this entertaining. But anyway, he ends up talking about a Vice article about the whole incident, and he doesn't seem happy about it, so let's take a look.
I saw this on Vice, and I really don't appreciate it. Hasan Piker banned from Twitch for saying cracker. Notice how they can just say it out?
Yes, Vaush, they're not on Twitch. I've seen other article headlines where they just have the N-word. And guess what? They're not on Twitch, so they're allowed to do it.
Piker and his moderators are just 3 of the latest creators banned for saying the word cracker. Earlier this week, libertarian streamer Vaush. Why would you do this to me? And they actually, I'm not joking, linked to the Discord thing of me saying the age of consent could have been 16.
Oh my god, how has Vice got it so bad? I'm amazed they linked to that. They may as well have called him paedophile advocate. But I like that that's their link to say he's a libertarian. Though to be fair, I always thought he referred to himself as a libertarian socialist, or it might just be market socialist. Which either way is a complete oxymoron.
This is what I'm talking about with, like, I have a unique relationship with my anti-fans, okay? This is incredible stuff. I have literally never seen anyone done this dirty.
You clearly don't read enough Vice. Or The Guardian, for that matter. But yes, Vaush has such a big head of himself that he doesn't realise that Vice not understanding his politics is the same as them being his anti-fans. No, Vaush, the article author will have just been an idiot and not done their homework on you. Don't worry about it. But I also love that that's all he went through in the article. That's all he wanted to go through. He's like, oh, Vice mentioned me. Everyone look at it. That's all he says. It's incredible. Like, you're talking about the issue. Give us something interesting. Don't just say, oh, look, I get name dropped, and they get my politics wrong, and they link to my pedo tweet. Could have been worse, to be fair, Vaush. They could have linked to that time that you said child pornography shouldn't be seen by morally bad as people because there are kids working in Africa in mines or something. And then that's basically the rest of the clip, to be honest. I thought it'd be a lot more interesting than that, but it isn't. It's literally just Vaush talking about himself. You can literally just sum this up as Vaush got banned from Twitch and he really doesn't care. And he also says somewhere in the clip that he doesn't get money from Twitch, which I don't know how true that is, but if it is true, I don't know why he's undermining his own business model like that. But well, there we go. So before I finish off this video, we also need to talk about Ethan Klein of H3H3, because he can't remember his own bloody jokes. So in a tweet from yesterday, which he's tweeting about this because Hasan Piker is his co-host for a weekly podcast they do, he said, "Nobody was offended when I did whiteface because it's a stupid joke with no real consequences and no history of oppression. Twitch banning Cracker is giving oxygen to white identity politics and putting white grievances on equal footing with actually oppressed people." So basically, again, Ethan is saying here that there's no history of oppression. It's similar to what Hasan Piker was saying. Basically, he's saying it was okay to do this whiteface because white people don't get offended by it or something like that. Which is completely wrong, because I went to find the old video where he did his whiteface, and he explains to the audience the joke within the video.
The video is called Dear White People, and it's one of the most bigoted, racist, backwards videos I've ever seen. Me, as a white man, I am so offended, I am so deeply divided by the message of their video. There's only one way I can properly react to this video. In whiteface.
So what makes me really laugh about this is that in the original tweet, Ethan Klein was almost otherwise in white people because, you know, just full disclosure, Ethan Klein ethnically is Israeli and therefore sees himself as Jewish, which is fine with me. I don't have any problem with Jews. But the thing is that back in 2016, when he made this video, he was saying this is very bigoted against white people. I see myself as white. And because he needs the joke spelling out for him, the point was that to put on whiteface, that is, as with blackface, to caricature white people. That was the joke. He's saying MTV are caricaturing white people, so I'm going to caricature myself in whiteface. That was the joke, but he seems to have completely forgotten that. He doesn't realise that it was a dig at anti-white bigotry. That's what he doesn't seem to get, or seems to have forgotten. Because it was 5 years ago, so now he's just saying, oh no, people didn't care I did whiteface, because there's no history or oppression, or just a completely unrelated reason. He seems to have forgotten that the reason it was okay is because he's making a joke about caricaturing himself because people are MTV were caricaturing white people. So basically he's an idiot who can't remember his own jokes. And if that wasn't the worst thing, he then came out with this tweet after. He came out with a tweet saying the crackers are angry, with a screenshot telling him that Twitter have had many instances of reports about his tweet that is clearly very bigoted. And Ethan Klein is a great case study of what happens when you just surround yourself with progressives in California. You end up just becoming the new MTV. He doesn't realise that literally that tweet he put out was MTV in 2016 levels of bigotry. And if he made a video like that today, I don't think he'd say he's white anymore. I don't know if he still describes himself as white or anything like that, but he probably now sees himself more ethnically as Jewish, especially since he's got an Israeli wife. Which again I don't have a problem with, but it is very annoying when Ethan here has said that he's white when he's trying to defend against white bigotry back in 2016, but now he's almost otherizing white people when he said he was one, and being a complete bigot again, and saying, yeah, cracker's completely fine to say because history or something. And the reason I'm being so clear about this is for YouTube. I don't want YouTube to ban me for anti-Semitism when I've done absolutely nothing anti-Semitic here. But it's just something I think needs pointing out. Ethan Klein has done something very bigoted here and incredibly poor form, especially when he has just completely forgotten his own joke. But there you go. I'm sure there'll be updates on what's happening to Hasan and Vaush. I'm sure we will see a complete reversal of this, and then we'll start seeing Cracker in every single Twitch chat. I'm being told by Hasan over and over again how the word is actually perfectly fine to use. I do hope I'm wrong, but we are in the clown decade, and I think things are only getting worse. But anyway, that's all I had for you today. So, as usual, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.